Kia is a very important car manufacturer, especially in the American market. We do have several of them in Germany as well. This car might seem familiar to you because this is called the Forte, but it's actually based on the same platform as the Kia Ceed, which we are very familiar with. So let's take a quick walk around and see what's what. The front of the Kia Forte is very similar to the Kia Ceed, but in this next generation facelift version, there's some more nicer elements, like for example this glossy black bumper in the bottom. I really like the tiger snout grille as well. And the headlamps, these LED lights, also bring the front design of the car together really nicely. The sporty design of the Kia Forte is highlighted by this nice black, shiny, glossy skirt that runs all along the bottom of the car. Also these shiny gray alloy wheels, which are, let's see the size, they are 17 inches, also lends the car a very sporty character. Towards the back, this car kind of looks a little bit like the Kia Stinger. I know that we've not been able to cover the Kia Stinger. We're going to try to do that very soon. It's right behind us. So look at this and look at that really quickly. You do notice a lot of similarity with the way the coupe of the roof line is dropping down. And, well, this car is doing the work for me, rather this turntable. So let's take a look at the back as well. I think it's also similar to the Stinger because the bottom of the bumper is sloping upwards. It's kind of getting pinched over here, while the top is coming down. And that glossy black trims that we've been seeing in the bumper, on the side skirt, continues with this spoiler at the top, a straight headlight, a rear brake light across the center, and nice tailpipe, singular tailpipe on the bottom of the bumper. We have the rear view camera here and a little button right behind it, which releases the boot. There's a fairly large opening over here, so it should be easy to get those heavy suitcases inside. The loading lip is also not too bad at all. The loading area is fairly large. It's not that tall, but I think in this segment it's very nice. It's very spacious. Also, you have tabs over here to pull and fold the seats down. As you can see, they fold in a 60-40 fashion. Let's get inside the Kia Forte. The door opens really wide. It's a long door. The entry area opening is pretty narrow. It's wide, but it's not that tall. The materials over here are not too bad. It's a bit soft touch plastic. We have that glossy black element inlay over here. Softer materials on the side, as well as over here. And it's only down here, as expected, you have some harder plastics. You do have to stoop a little bit to get inside. It is a fairly low car, but that's not too bad. And the seating position is also very sporty. The seat can be adjusted completely for reclining, and you have things like lumbar support. It's all automatic, as you guys can see over here. Oh, this one, the passenger side, is manual, but the driver's seat is automatic. The seat material is nice. There's some perforated materials in the middle. Good side bolstering as well. And hop inside and we'll take a closer look. We have two analog speedometer and a analog tachometer over here, as well as your stalks for your indicator, your lights, and the wipers. The steering wheel itself is also really nicely shaped. It's completely circular. There is no flat bottom, but the grip is pretty nice. It's a little bit thinner than what you would expect from other European manufacturers, namely German manufacturers, but it's got a good feel to it. It's also not too large, and I always like a slightly smaller steering wheel. The central horn and the emblem of the Kia logo is also pretty large, so this also makes the steering wheel seem a little bit smaller. There is no paddle shifters behind the steering wheel though, But on the steering wheel, you have a lot of controls for your adaptive cruise control and navigating through your menus and audio controls. The switchgear seems all right, although it does shake and wiggle a little bit, as you guys can see. But apart from that, I think it's pretty good. It's definitely a little bit more premium feeling than Hyundai's. Towards the side, we have a standalone infotainment screen with... Okay, I can't turn this on, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. With knobs for your volume and, for example, to tune the radio. Some hotkey buttons over here. Fairly decently positioned air vents. A nice strip of shiny metal effect plastic running on top through the dashboard. Materials here are still very soft, which is nice. It's only down here where it gets a little bit harder. But like I said, overall, still a better interior feel than Hyundai's. Dual zone climate controls and controls for that over here. Place to drop your phone. Another place down here to store some items. 12-volt power socket, auxiliary USB, and another power USB over there. Here's the lever for the automatic transmission. Seat heating and ventilating, which is really nice. Drive mode select. Manual handbrake. Cup holders. A central armrest with a USB socket. Let's give it the shake test. Yes, this is really good. Very rigid. I like it. This is also very nicely padded and plush. And finally, up here we have the panoramic, not really panoramic, sorry, just a regular sunroof and a sunglasses holder. Let's get into the back seat. The door opens really wide, which is really impressive. The opening is also very squared off, so getting in those child seats should be very easy. You also have ISOFIX points as well. The materials up here are very hard plastics, unfortunately, not like the front door, but the armrest is a little bit padded. Then you have more hard plastics down here. I do not really like this monotone full black color scheme. I'd like lighter colors usually, but at least the roof lining is a lighter color, which is something that I think is very nice, and it helps improve the interior feeling. Help improve the cabin space. It makes it seem a lot more spacious and brighter. Sitting inside, first impressions, it's really spacious back here. For a car in this segment, I have plenty of knee room. I can slide my feet under the front seat. Of course, if you raise the front seat, you'll have more space for that as well. This seat is set to my driving position. I'm 5'8" or 1.7 meters, so that's really good for this car. The window on the side is also really tall and really long, plus there's a tiny window behind my head as well. And the open sunroof overall gives a very nice, spacious experience. Continuing with plus points, there are air conditioning vents here as well. And interestingly, there's only one seat back pouch on the passenger side and nothing on the driver's seat side. Interesting. But another plus point here would be this really low central transmission tunnel. Since this is just a front wheel drive car, there really is no transmission tunnel at all. So you could even keep your feet, especially smaller children, could keep their feet on this. And there's plenty of space on the footwells and the co-passengers as well. The seat itself is really comfortable. The bench is fairly flat, so you're not sitting higher. I still have plenty of headroom thanks to the scooped out roof lining. The seat back is a little bit stiff thanks to this armrest that we have over here, which always tends to make the back feel a little bit stiffer with these cup holders. One thing I do notice is there is no tab or loop or a hoop or something for me to grab and pull this down. I kind of have to stuff my hand inside and then yank it down. I think that's an oversight. They should really put a little tab for that inside there. But otherwise, the backseat of the Kia Forte is a good place to be. I'm here with Mr. Orth Hedrick, the Vice President of Product Strategy at Kia. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yes. Now, we're not familiar with the name Forte, but as he was just telling me, this is basically based on the Kia Ceed, which we are very much familiar with back home in Europe. So, Mr. Orth, can you take us around this car? What is new for this generation? What are the improvements that have been made over the previous version of this car?
It's all new. First off, it's on a K2 platform, so it's a new powertrain, a new platform, basically all new.
Okay.
For us, the main point is this is an important car for us. Over the last couple of years, we've actually grown this business. The news here in Detroit, of course, is CUV. Everything is CUV. But for us, this is still a very important car in our lineup. It's gotten a little bit bigger, not by much. It's a little taller, a little wider, and a little longer. The design language is quite different from the outgoing car. And this was really our way of moving the car in a different direction. It's more bold, it's more sophisticated, it's also more refined looking. So in this category, it's a practical category. We thought that would be a nice touch to add some new language to the segment. I think the other part is you can see it looks really, really sporty. This is our launch edition, we refer to it. So we've added the dark chrome wheels, the rear spoiler, and also the side skirts. This vehicle is equipped with a 2-liter engine. It's our third generation of the 2-liter engine. We've added some new technology. We use Atkinson cycle, so it improves fuel economy, cooled exhaust gas recirculation, which helps control emissions, but also allows us to have a higher compression ratio. A little bit, probably too technical, but the main point. Okay, so the main point is we're able to get a lot more horsepower, but also improve fuel economy.
The Atkinson cycle runs on a different compression ratio.
It basically leaves the intake valve open just a little bit, yeah, so it reduces the pumping losses. So I think for us that is a new generation engine, so it's a lot more refined. A couple other points, we're also adding new technology called IVT. It's our version of continuously variable transmission. We refer to it as intelligent variable transmission. And here we wanted to give it a new name or new moniker to emphasize the point that this is new. It has steps in it, very much like a traditional automatic. So typically when we talked to our consumers during development, they didn't like that droning or that rubber band effect of where the engine's revving up and is staying at a high RPM. We've added steps to this transmission. For durability, and to add that, we have a tension belt instead of a push belt inside of it. So instead of having the movement of the energy from the engine to the transmission using a push belt, it's like a chain, almost like a bike or on a motorcycle. So it's a lot more durable. We're able to get those steps as a result. So it's a great feel. We're able to improve the fuel economy about 3 to 4 miles per gallon. We don't have the final numbers from the EPA government yet, but we anticipate probably about 3 or 4 miles per gallon. So bigger overall. We've also used a lot more high-strength steel and advanced high-strength steel. This does two things. Number one, it makes the body in white a lot more rigid. So it performs, the vehicle feels a lot more solid and robust. It allows the suspension a lot more firm platform in which to do its work. So which means that we're able to get a lot more crisp and refined handling overall. A better ride quality and also improved safety. The safety standards have gone up quite a bit. This vehicle was designed from the beginning with all of those advanced safety requirements in place. So it's a lot stiffer. We use about 55% advanced high-strength steel, and the overall rigidity is up about 16%. Small offset, we're anticipating great results, top safety pick from IHS, so there's a lot of technology there. The third component, in addition to a new powertrain for fuel economy, the refinement and rigidity and safety, is technology. We're adding our latest generation of UVO technology, which is our connected car platform. The regulation now also requires rear backup camera has to be standard, which we do have. But instead of having just a small little display, we install on every Forte standard an 8-inch color touchscreen right in the middle of the dash. You can see it right there in the middle. And this is standard on every car. This also includes Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So even for the basic buyer, he's going to get that technology available. So for us, this is an important part of Kia, is delivering that value, not just meeting the letter of the law, but adding a little bit of extra value for it. The other point is that it's just a fantastic looking vehicle. It's really sporty. A lot of design cues were actually borrowed off of the Stinger.
I was going to ask you that, yes.
The two vehicles were in the studio roughly about the same time. Stinger launched in December, which is last month, and this is launching probably in the third quarter, so roughly about 9 months apart from each other. So the profile of the vehicle overall, this kind of swooping profile, and moving the base of the A-pillar back 5 inches gives it a profile very similar to the Stinger. So when you look at this car in the dealer's lots or across the road, it looks like a baby Stinger. We also included these really cool round vents on the outside. If you look at the inside of the Stinger, we have these really cool, iconic center vents with the same circle design, and we've added that to the small car also. So if you like the Stinger, this is his baby brother.
That is fantastic. Apart from just the design, I mean, I think Kia, first of all, builds very sporty handling cars. So have you taken some improvements from the chassis of the Kia Stinger to perhaps in terms of suspension, the linkages, or of course this is a front-wheel drive car, but any other performance upgrades that you have learned from the Stinger or co-developed with the Stinger, which is there now on the Forte?
Well, one of the advantages, we Albert Bierman from 30 years at BMW joined us just a few years ago, so he's basically helping our engineers develop their competencies on vehicle dynamics overall. So this has driven a couple of points. I mentioned the body on white is allowing the suspension to do its work. We've also improved some of the basic geometry of the subframes. We've added new bushings for lateral stiffness, so it has good compliance on vertical, but on lateral, if you're going around a corner, it's very, very stiff and rigid, which gives it that ability to maintain the line on tracking. The steering gear, for instance, in the steering rack, we've reduced the overall friction by improving the quality of the components, but also paying attention to where they're making contact. So the overall feeling of connected to the road is really because of improved quality of the components, but also reducing the friction in the steering rack. So when you drive the vehicle, it has that very precise, nimble feel that you feel on a lot of premium German sedans. And that is because of the learning that we've had with Albert on the team.
That's true. I just recently saw the new Veloster, which also Mr. Bierman has helped co-develop.
We're part of the Hyundai Motor Group, so that's part of, both of us are benefiting, both brands are benefiting from his knowledge.
Well, that's fantastic. One last question before I let you go.
Absolutely.
In terms of future drivetrains, in terms of economy, like, for example, hybrid powertrains, electric powertrains, what can we expect from Kia going in the future?
Well, we introduced a couple of new technologies. Number one is we have our first plug-in hybrid that we introduced on the Optima last year. Also the plug-in Nero, which is kind of a move towards full electrification. We already have the Soul EV, so we're moving in that direction already. Probably as we go forward, you'll just see more iterations of that technology. One of the success factors we had was putting hybrid system standard on the Nero, but not making a big deal about it. It drives great, it performs adequate to most customers' expectations, and it looks like a normal car. And I think one thing that we've heard over and over is that why can't every car be like this? Why can't I get 50 miles per gallon on just any car? And we haven't necessarily made these dramatic design changes to signify it's a hybrid. I think customers want the benefit with just having a normal experience. So as we go forward, we're going to try to introduce a lot of these technologies to average customers to make sure that they have the same experience as everything else. And also EV is an important part of us. We're working hard on improving that technology also.
Okay, well, thank you so much. It was a very detailed
Thanks so
presentation.
much for taking the time and checking out the brand new Forte. It'll be available this fall.
Fantastic. There you have it. One of the interesting things for me at the Detroit Auto Show has been seeing how a lot of the cars that we are familiar with in Europe are transferred and translated into cars for the American market. For example, the Kia Forte, which we would know as the Kia Ceed. Here it's longer, wider, comes as a sedan as standard, and has a lot of special features to it that makes it its own car. Overall, I think the Forte is a really nice car, and this new next generation facelift version of the Kia Forte takes it even further taking a lot of cues from the Kia Stinger. You can see that it is translated in the way it is designed, as well as intervention and from Mr. Bierman, who works for the Hyundai Group. The car is now a lot more agile, sporty, and faster. What do you guys think about the Kia Forte? Do you think we should get this car in Europe as well? Let me know. Put it down in the comments below.